Thank you. I bring greetings from your sisters in Australia. Because we are so geographically distant, we often feel isolated from the world struggle for women's rights. So it's wonderful to be here with such strong and articulate women. Iran is the heart of the struggle for women's rights in the world today, particularly in the face of the growing Islamic fundamentalism. But each of us have our own struggles in our own countries, as we've heard today. I was fascinated to hear of what's been happening in other countries. I thought that we in Australia really had women's rights and that misogyny was a thing of the past. Australia, in fact, was the first country where women won the vote. They won the vote in South Australia in 1894, and it was only in 1896 that New Zealand was the second country for women to have the vote. When we got our first woman Prime Minister some years ago, 3 years ago, we really felt that we had arrived as a country that accepted women's rights. But the treatment that she received from the media and from the Conservative politicians was terrible. Misogyny just broke out. There was one occasion when she was called a witch and a bitch, and a very important Conservative commentator in Australia, just after her father had died, said that her father had died of shame because he had her as his daughter. It was really, really nasty, nasty behaviour. So what it made me realise is that you never win these rights, you have to keep fighting for them. However, name-calling is not as bad as what happens to women in Iran, where imprisonment, torture and even execution happens when women stand up for their rights. When we go back to our own countries, each of us should undertake to do one thing that will go towards overthrowing the mullahs. We don't have to all work on everything. We should think of one thing that we can do. As the Icelandic women have pointed out, most of the world's media totally ignore the situation of women in Iran. In fact, most of the world's media totally ignore what is going on inside Iran. It is only because we get the emails from our comrades here in Paris that we know about the executions, the daily executions, often in public, of people whose offences have been simply supporting the dissident TV network, for instance. Our media totally ignores this. Make sure, when you go back to your countries, that your media knows about the situation in Iran. Tell them about this conference. Write reports about what's been going on here. Tell them about the fate of the 1,000 women in Camp Liberty. And most important, remind the media, or tell them for the first time, about the 6 women hostages who are in Iraq and who are no doubt being tortured and who will be killed unless we, as a movement, can fight to get them returned. So, as I said, I bring you great greetings from Australia, and I just want to congratulate the people who organised the conference yesterday and who's organised this today, because it is wonderful to hear from these terrific women from all around the world. Thank you very much.